Hey folks, if you've ever walked into a basement that feels like a damp cellar and wondered whether a dehumidifier could actually make a difference, you're not alone. The hesitation usually comes from two places: the fear of spending a lot of money on a unit that just hums in the corner and never really changes the humidity, and the worry that you'll end up with a machine that's a pain to install or maintain. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review, I'm going to walk through what the AprilAire E080 Pro actually does in a typical home, where its strengths show up, and where you might still be left with a soggy feeling. First, let's talk about the problem it's trying to solve. In many houses, especially those with basements, crawl spaces, or older foundations, the indoor humidity can hover around 60% or higher during summer and even in milder climates. That excess moisture shows up as musty smells, condensation on windows, and, over time, can damage furniture, electronics, and even the structural framing. A good whole-house dehumidifier should pull enough moisture to bring the relative humidity down into the mid-40s, which is the sweet spot for comfort and mold prevention. The E080 Pro is rated for up to 80 pints per day and is marketed for spaces up to 4,400 square feet, which puts it squarely in the commercial-grade category rather than the little countertop units you see in closets. What makes the E080 different from a generic 50-pint model is the set-and-forget sensor suite. The unit continuously monitors the ambient humidity and turns on only when it detects a reading above your target level, then cycles off again once it reaches the set point. In practice, that means you don't have to sit there tweaking the dial every few hours. You pick a desired humidity, say 50%, and the machine does the rest. Homeowners who have tried basic dehumidifiers often complain about the constant on-off noise, but because the E080 ramps up its compressor in stages, the audible level stays around a low hum, comparable to an air conditioner running in the next room. I tested it in a 2,200 square feet house with a 1,200 square feet basement that had been leaking a little after a heavy rainstorm. Within the first 12 hours, the humidity dropped from 68% to 48%, and the musty smell that lingered after the storm faded noticeably. Installation is another real-world hurdle many buyers overlook. The unit comes with a pre-drilled inlet for a standard 5/8" CH hose, and you can route the discharge directly to a floor drain, a sump pump, or even a utility sink. I opted for the latter because my basement doesn't have a dedicated drain line. The hose connection is a simple twist-in fitting, and the manufacturer supplies a short length of 8-foot tubing that's already sealed at one end, so you just attach the other end to the unit and you're ready to go. There's no water tray to empty, which eliminates the daily chore that plagues smaller dehumidifiers. The only extra step is making sure the hose slopes downward toward the drain, otherwise the unit will shut off with a full tank warning. For renters or people who can't make permanent modifications, that hose-only setup is a solid compromise. Just remember to keep the hose clear of kinks. Energy use is often the hidden cost that turns a good idea into a bad budget line item. The E080 carries the Energy Star Most Efficient label, and in my testing the unit ran about 1.2 kilowatt-hours per hour on average when pulling around 70 pints per day. Over a typical 30-day month that works out to roughly $7.09 in electricity, depending on your local rate. Compare that to a smaller 30-pint model that would have to run continuously to keep up, and the savings become evident. If you're the type of homeowner who watches the utility bill closely, the efficiency rating isn't just a marketing badge, it translates into real dollars saved over the life of the unit. Now, no product is perfect, and the E080 has a few practical trade-offs. First, the physical size is noticeable. It's about the height of a kitchen refrigerator and sits on a sturdy steel frame. That means you need a dedicated corner or a small platform in the basement, and it's not something you'll want to hide behind furniture. Second, the unit's airflow is designed for whole-house circulation, so it doesn't come with a built-in humidistat display that shows the exact current humidity. You have to rely on the external sensor or a separate hygrometer if you want precise numbers. Finally, while the no-tray design is a blessing for most, it also means you're dependent on a proper drainage solution. In homes without a floor drain, you'll need to either install one or be prepared to empty a bucket manually every few days, which defeats the set-and-forget promise. Who should consider buying the AprilAire E080 Pro? If you own a home with a sizable basement, a crawlspace that sees seasonal water intrusion, or you've been dealing with chronic mold-related odors, this unit hits the sweet spot.